Hi everyone, welcome again. We are sorry for the experience problem. I will start the webinar now, and you can send your technical issues to support@pharmasoft.com.tr, or you can directly email our contact@pharmasoft.com.tr. I will share my presentation. Actually, we did the testing before the webinar, but some things happened. I don't know. Sorry for again. Oh, good afternoon, everyone, again. First and foremost, we would like to extend our well wishes to everyone affected by the earthquake in Istanbul on April 23rd. And we hope you and your loved ones are safe and well. And thank you for joining us today. I'm very happy to welcome you to today's webinar. I'm Ms. Canbay, and I work as a business development and sales assistant specialist at PharmaSoft. And I will be your moderator throughout the sessions, and I will be also giving a brief introduction to our company. And we have an exciting agenda lined up with valuable insights ahead. And thank you once again for being here. Again, as I said, if you have any technical issues or other attendees have any technical issues, please contact the support@pharmasoft.com.tr during the webinar. So let's meet the PharmaSoft. PharmaSoft specializes in the pharmacovigilance, regulatory affairs, and software solutions for the pharmaceutical sector. And for a decade, we have been providing high-quality expertise to ensure regulatory compliance. We have three certifications. First, we have Contracted Pharmacovigilance Service Provider certification, which is given by the Ministry of Health of Turkey. Then we have two ISO certifications. First, we have ISO 9001 Quality Management System certification, and the other one is ISO 27001 Information Security Management System certification. We have three different software products. First, we have PharmaBase, which is a drug safety database. Secondly, we have PharmaSearch, which is a literature review application. And lastly, we have Detectio, which is a signal detection application. Let's go into more detail. PharmaBase actually is Turkey's first domestic drug safety database, and it's the only one that you can manage all of your PV activities and responsibilities from one platform with 14 integrated modules. And it is compliant with the E2BR3, and also the data migration is very easy and secure. With a single Excel file, we can migrate your data very easily and safely to the PharmaBase. Lastly, we give our clients 24/7 client-based open access, which gives us a transparent working model. As I mentioned before, PharmaSearch is a literature review application. It is used by an expert team for a comprehensive examination. Currently, we have 691 medical journals in the PharmaSearch. And one of the key features of it is the adverse event information note feature. When an adverse event found in an article, our team is able to give notes to them later on that you can see in the digital library when you look back. And lastly, it also has a secure access. Our last software product is Detectio. It's a signal detection application, as I mentioned. Detectio has machine learning driven insights, and it identifies the potential signal with a high accuracy and efficiency that empowers the expert decisions. I would like to talk briefly about regulatory affairs. We provide cost-effective, high-quality, and efficient solutions by emphasizing the data security and privacy in your licensing procedures. We can do both project service tailored to your needs or comprehensive and secure end-to-end process management. Today, PharmaSoft has over 100 happy clients, and we support them in more than 40 countries. This isn't just a number, it reflects trust, collaboration, and our shared focus on the patient safety. Each partnership helps us grow, improve, and innovate. And we are proud of what we have built and excited for what's next. And that brings us to the final slide of my presentation. Thank you all for your attention. You can always contact us from contact@pharmasoft.com.tr or business@pharmasoft.com.tr. And sorry for the experience problem to attending the webinar again. And now I will hand over the microphone to Ms. Ayşe, our co-founder and general manager. Ms. Ayşe, if you are ready, you can share your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Melis. It's uploading. Hello, everyone. Like Melis, first, I'd like to extend my heartfelt wishes after the recent earthquake in Istanbul. Thankfully, there were no major damage, but it was a quite frightening experience for all of us. This webinar today aims to provide information on MedDRA and WHODrug subscriptions. We are happy to welcome experts from MedDRA and UMC to share their insights. Before we dive into their presentations, I'd like to give a brief overview. As you already know, a new guideline was published in May 2023. This guideline introduced clearer definitions and new responsibilities for service providers and also for marketing authorization holders. Today, we will focus on how to meet the MedDRA and WHODrug subscription requirements in practice. According to Article 5, Paragraph C of this new guideline, the use of a drug safety database will be mandatory starting July 1st, 2025. To meet the new standard, this database must be E2B-R3 compliant, fully validated. It should be segregated by marketing authorization holders. It should also be secure and up-to-date with MedDRA and WHODrug dictionaries. PharmaBase, our drug safety database, has been developed in line with E2B-R3 technical standards. XML generation is fully automated and MedDRA coding is fully integrated. WHODrug integration is currently in the testing phase and everything is progressing smoothly. All data flows are designed to follow the E2B-R3 format. The system is technically on track for full compliance by the regulatory deadline. Our product, PharmaBase, isn't just another pharmacovigilance database. It was built to simplify by everyday work of PV professionals, by people who actually understand how that work is done. By this, I mean this product is built by PV professionals for PV professionals. You don't need to jump between Excel files, Word documents, email attachments, and external folders. Everything is in one secure web-based environment, accessible 24/7, wherever you are. PharmaBase includes 14 fully integrated modules covering the entire PV workflow, from individual case processing to periodic reporting, from signal management to training documentation. It's fully aligned with technical and regulatory requirements like E2BR3, and it's designed to be simple, clear, and easy to use every single day. We also thought about real operational pain points like data migration. Transferring your current data into the system is straightforward and fully supported. Once you are inside PharmaBase, you'll find that it's not just a tool, it's your digital PV workspace. It's practical, efficient, and built to reduce complexity, not add to it. Because at the end of the day, it's not only about compliance, it's about control, confidence, and clarity in your daily work. Currently, MedDRA coding is available within PharmaBase, and our clients are expected to obtain their own MedDRA license in accordance with licensing terms. Dear Jane and Patrick from the MedDRA team will provide further insight into the licensing framework in the next part of the session. Pharmacovigilance providers cannot provide access to WHODrug under their own license. Clients who plan to use WHODrug coded data within database must have a valid WHODrug global license. Dear Stewart from UMC will walk you through the key licensing details as part of his session. To support this compliance as PharmaSoft, we currently are finalizing a license validation feature within PharmaBase. This control mechanism will be in place by July 1st, 2025, aligned with the new regulatory deadline. It will help ensure that only properly licensed data exchange takes place. Looking ahead, it's clear that digital transformation will continue to reshape pharmacovigilance. Automation is already helping reduce human error, speed up processes, and support faster, more reliable decision-making. From machine learning in signal detection to real-time data tracking, the future is becoming increasingly tech-driven. But even in a highly automated world, our focus must remain on people, on protecting patients, and on empowering the professionals responsible for their safety. At PharmaSoft, this vision has been part of our DNA from the very beginning. When we founded the company, we brought together deep pharmacovigilance expertise with strong software and IT know-how. Instead of treating technology as a separate add-on, we integrated it into the heart of our approach. Our aim isn't just to offer outsourced PV services. It is to build smarter, integrated systems that make those services stronger, faster, and more reliable. That's why we've developed a product ecosystem tailored to the real needs of PV professionals. PharmaBase, PharmaSearch, Dedectio, as Melis mentioned in her presentation. Each product addresses a specific area. PharmaBase is for drug safety database, PharmaSearch is for literature review, Dedectio is for signal detection. But our long-term goal is to bring them together through AI-supported automated workflows. We are working to create a fully integrated pharmacovigilance environment where users have what they need when they need it, without switching between platforms, formats, or folders. Because for us, digital transformation isn't just about adopting new technologies. It's about anticipating what's coming next and designing solutions that make life easier for pharmacovigilance teams, while helping them stay compliant, proactive, and patient-focused. Thank you all for your attention. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them during our Q&A session.
We thank Ms. Ayşe for her valuable presentation. Now, Mr. Patrick and Ms. Jane from MedDRA MSSO will present their presentation titled as Getting Started with MedDRA. If you are ready, you can share. I guess you shared. Yeah.
So thank you very much to Melis and Aisha and our PharmaSoft colleagues for inviting the MSSO to this meeting. Very pleased to be able to participate. So my name again is Patrick Ravel. I'm the director of the MedDRA MSSO. You'll be hearing from my colleague Jane Knight, who's one of our key trainers and a very capable coder certainly as well. So with that, let me just go over to basics really, which MedDRA is the medical dictionary for regulatory activities. So if you get nothing else from my presentation, you'll understand what the acronym stands for. So MedDRA, the purpose behind it really is, here, this word standardization a number of times between myself and Jane is really to be a communication tool to support the exchange of clinical information through a standardized process. So it was built to be a global support tool for safety and efficacy of drug and device data. So certainly MedDRA supports the coding process or data entry, but the real value in using MedDRA comes when you're doing the retrieval and analysis of clinical information related to pharmaceutical products, biologics, vaccines, and drug device combination products. This slide, I think, gives a couple different messages. One, MedDRA is a global standard. It's currently used in 143 countries today. But what's really important behind that is the communication, the ease of communication between marketing authorization holders and regulators and between regulatory authorities, where there's no need to convert data from one terminology to another. So having the data in a single standard and being able to communicate very clearly and very directly without the data conversion is a significant advantage that many take advantage of today. So talking a little bit more about benefits, I mentioned the ease of communication, but MedDRA does include a hierarchical structure with terms, obviously provided clinically related groupings, and then certainly more specific terms are there to code very individual medical events at the lower level. So MedDRA is relatively large, 90,000 terms. So you will likely be able to find the necessary detail that you need, as well as more general terms, depending upon your use of MedDRA. So your subscription comes with a variety of tools and functions, all of which are part of it. So certainly user documentation, we do a lot of training. I think we trained about 15,000 people last year between in-person, online, and webinars. We provide software tools, including browsers and version analysis tools that help you understand the difference between one version and the next. A lot of help desk support, user group meetings, and another key toward a global standard is MedDRA is available currently in 24 languages. We're actually looking to expand that over time. So really important that MedDRA exists as a terminology standard, but equally important is that people use it in a similar fashion. So there are two key documents that have been developed called the points considered documents for coding and analysis of data. So developed by MedDRA experts, we participate with the maintenance of these documents, and they're updated roughly about once a year to adjust to changes in MedDRA and or changes in the request from regulatory authorities. So it's there really to promote the accuracy and consistent use of MedDRA. So if you're not familiar with these documents, I really encourage you to access them from the MedDRA.org website, and they're freely available. And really, you should look at them as a good starting point for your own coding conventions or analysis conventions to get a sense of what is considered to be best practices. Focusing a bit now on MedDRA subscriptions. Certainly a MedDRA subscription is needed to use MedDRA. Regulatory authorities, nonprofits, academic institutions receive MedDRA for free. So we are supported by commercial users who end up paying a fee to access MedDRA. Now, all subscriptions essentially provide the same level of service, regardless of whether they're free or whether you're paying for them. But there is no limit to the number of users within an organization. So this idea of an enterprise-wide, so anybody in your organization, whether that's 2 people or 200 people, any of those people within the organization can have access to MedDRA. The subscription rates that are associated with the commercial levels, and you'll see them shortly, were really designed to minimize the financial burdens or impact for lower revenue organizations. So with that in mind, I can show you this is the subscription table as it exists for 2025. I mentioned the regulatory authorities and nonprofits with no fee associated with them. And then you see the sliding scale from level 0 through level 7. But the key point here is if you look at our subscriber base, 75% of all of our users are either accessing MedDRA for free or paying $589 or less per year. So by far, the bulk of our users are at the low end of the annual revenue levels. Our bulk of our maintenance costs are borne by the much larger organizations, which seems kind of right to me. So a little bit more about MedDRA and now data sharing. So certainly you need a valid subscription to access MedDRA. It's valid for 12 months and we'll ask you to renew it toward the end of your subscription phase. So it's key that you understand as a subscriber that even though you may have gotten MedDRA for free, we ask you to sign a license agreement which says in part that you cannot distribute MedDRA to an unlicensed third party. And what I mean by that is just providing the entirety of MedDRA to somebody who is not a MedDRA subscriber. You certainly can freely exchange data between yourself and other MedDRA subscribers or regulatory authorities. That's not what we have in mind at all, but it is a violation of the MedDRA subscription agreement if you are providing MedDRA coded data to a non-subscribing organization. So let me pose a few common questions and I'll give you the answers related to subscriptions that may clarify some of these points. So the first one is my organization is a subsidiary or affiliate of our parent organization. Can I use the parent organization's MedDRA subscription? Fairly common request that we receive and not unusual to have kind of these relationships between subsidiaries and affiliates and parent organization. So the answer is yes. So if the parent organization owns the majority of the subsidiary or affiliate, then essentially you're covered by the parent organization subscription. So if you have questions, because sometimes arrangements are a little bit more difficult, please don't hesitate to contact our help desk. Second question is, if my organization outsources our reporting requirements to a CRO, does my organization require a MedDRA subscription? Very common question. So yes, your organization is responsible for the data for regulatory reporting. You own that data, that's yours. Without a MedDRA subscription, the CRO is violating the MedDRA license agreement by sharing MedDRA to an unlicensed organization. So even though you may outsource the entire reporting responsibility, the data is yours and you're still required to have a subscription, as is the CRO. So the third and final question I've got as an example is I want to share our organization's MedDRA coded data with a business partner. How can I verify their MedDRA subscription status? So we really encourage organizations to do this. And so responsible organizations certainly will do that and can check on the subscription status of all of their business partners. We provide a series of options and certainly one of the tools that's available from the MedDRA.org website is the MSSO self-service application. So you can identify and provide it with a MedDRA ID, and then it can provide you the access or the subscription status of that organization. Again, if you have questions and that's not convenient for you, please feel free to contact the MSSO's help desk. The last slide that I'll show before transitioning to my colleague Jane is I really encourage you to take a look at the MedDRA.org website. It is a lot of information available. I won't go through the long list on the right-hand side, but most of the material that you see listed on the right-hand side is available for free. So anybody can access it, including our user documentation. There's training materials there. And certainly there is an area for subscribers as well to download MedDRA and other information. But the majority of what is posted on the MedDRA.org website is available to anybody. The key point about this is in the lower right-hand corner, we also have an online chat that allows you to chat directly with the MSSO staff to be able to address any of your questions. And many people take advantage of this today. So just another option to be able to contact the MSSO. So with that, let me transition to my colleague, Jane.
Thank you, Pat. So I'd now like to just spend a few minutes sharing with our group how they can access some of those resources and tools that you've just told us about. So I'm going to focus on three practical questions now. Firstly, how do I subscribe to MedDRA? What do I get with my subscription? And then a question that we get asked a lot, I know it's very important to all of our users, how can I get training? So these are the three things that I'm now going to address in the next few slides. The first one, how to subscribe. Well, you do this by going to the MedDRA website, meddra.org. You see highlighted on the screen from the home page, you'll see that there's a bar along the top of blue buttons. So we're looking now at the button labeled subscription that I've highlighted with the red arrow. And one of those options is new subscription. This will bring you up an application form where firstly it will ask you what type of organization that you're subscribing, and there as a commercial organization you would select commercial, and as you fill out the form it will ask you, what's very important is that you do send us a signed statement giving us the total annual revenue for your organization in English, generally as a letter in PDF format. And if you need help with a template or advice around that, just send us an email and we'll be happy to help. But as Pat explained with the sliding scale, we need that in order to process your application. So that's one of the things that I would point out to you about how you do subscribe. And there's information on the website under the subscription heading about the types of subscription and the rates. And this is how you get there. The next thing I wanted to point out is one of the quick links. So again, I show you in the screenshot, the top right-hand corner, you see one of the quick links is labeled downloads. This is where you download the actual MedDRA content from the website. You require a MedDRA ID and password, and I'll explain a bit more about how you get that in a moment. And that is where you can download a suite of ASCII files, text files, if you wish to incorporate MedDRA in one of your own tools or your database. I've also put a point here on this slide that there is also a suite of APIs available for integrated use of MedDRA if you wish within your own database for searching and analysis. And we are looking over time, we will be expanding the APIs that are currently available. And if I have time at the end, I'll show you where on the website you can find out more information about the APIs. The next, also then downloads, Pat mentioned that MedDRA is available in English and 23 other translations. So this is just a follow-on slide to explain what you see when you click on downloads. You select the version that you're interested in downloading, then you select the language of the set of MedDRA, the version of MedDRA you want, and the language. And when you download the folder, this is where it includes the set of text files as I mentioned, and also user documentation, which in itself is also very helpful. An intro guide to MedDRA, a spreadsheet showing the SMQs or standardized MedDRA queries, as well as some other documents. The next thing that our users find very helpful are the MedDRA browsers. We currently have 3 types of MedDRA browser, all included within your subscription. There's one that you download to your desktop, one is a web-based browser, and one is a mobile browser. As you see on the right-hand side, it's got a larger interface that's particularly useful on a smartphone screen or a tablet, a larger interface. But the three browsers work the same way. They all display MedDRA in the same way. They may look slightly different, but the functionality tends to be generally similar. The next feature that Pat has already mentioned to you, one of the things that you do have within your subscription is the ability to request changes to future releases of MedDRA. And what I've shown you here with the screenshot is the front page of our web CR. It's a tool we use. It's an online portal for requesting specific changes. You, again, as I included within your subscription, no additional cost required for this, but you can make proposals for either adding terms to MedDRA or suggesting the placement of changes to the existing terms in future releases. The one thing I would emphasize here is if you are making such requests, please give us a rationale when you enter the information as to why you want to see this change. What's the reason for it? And then we will come back to you within 7 to 10 working days, explaining after our team of physicians have reviewed your proposal, whether or not we agree with you. We will come back to you with that decision. So training now, very important. As Pat's already mentioned, we have 3 types of training. Firstly, in-person training, either face-to-face classes that we offer in several languages at various locations. We did training in Istanbul last year that Ayşe supported us with. So thank you, Ayşe and Onuran, for that. Then we also offer live webinars that we do throughout the year on a variety of topics. And details of both the in-person and live webinars are available on the schedule page of our website under training. And then with our newest addition to the training with MSSO is the on-demand e-learning. So this is a MedDRA learning management system, and it hosts interactive videos that you can follow in a systematic process to gradually increase your learning through some pathways and get certificates that way for your learning. So 3 things, and we are hoping to come, in case you wonder, well, I missed the training last year in Istanbul, we are hoping to come back in the future, fingers crossed that hopefully next year we hope to come back to Istanbul for some further face-to-face classes. So do keep an eye on that schedule page of the website. I mentioned there that you register for webinars and in-person classes on our website, and you get certificates there for full attendance. You can create a MedDRA LMS account if you prefer the self-study method. That also provides you with a certificate when you complete a pathway. And if you don't have chance to attend the live or to do the MedDRA LMS, or if you don't yet have your subscription, you can follow some of our training events on the YouTube channel where we have recordings of our webinars. But the attendance there is not recorded and you don't get a certificate. So have a look at the training section of the website for all this information. And then the final part of your subscription I wanted to mention, Pat, I know already mentioned it, was the self-service application. And this is where you go to get your MedDRA credentials, your passwords, also where you can check your organization's nominated points of contact, or confirm a subscription status of a business partner. And I know this is something that's very important. Pat mentioned it earlier. You can use this self-service application to retrieve the links for upcoming webinars after you have registered. And you can also download your training certificates from here, from your training history. So those were all the features that I wanted to mention. If I have a moment now, I will just show you quickly a couple of these on the website. I mentioned the subscription. First of all, you see these blue sections. This is where I would suggest you focus first of all. In the drop down, you have the new subscription as the option, as well as the types of subscription and the subscription rates. So this is the first section. I mentioned the quick links, top right hand side. This is where you see the downloads that I mentioned. You come to the downloads page where you can log in with your credentials there from that one. You've got the points to consider document at the top there as well. This is going to give me those test things now, isn't it? We are. Skip it. Oh, let me get out of this. Where's it? Drag it. Okay. Here we are. Sorry about that. I thought I'd covered that earlier. There we go. There's our downloads page. You see you can download the version specific and the language within each of those headings. Some other information there when you have a look, some of the other things you can download from this page, including mappings and background information. You see at the top, that's where we have the points to consider documents with a quick link again. You can download these, the documentation that help guide you in your use of MedDRA. And that's also the link for the self-service application. And this is where you can check either a list of organizations whom you work with, multiple subscription status check, or an individual status subscription check. This is where you get your passwords when you have completed your application and the training area I mentioned. I'll just go back to the website here. You can see the training section. This is where we have the schedule for signing up for webinars and face-to-face classes. And I mentioned already the materials are here with the links to the type of recorded webinars we have. They're on the website as well as on our YouTube channel. So those were all the things I mentioned. They're important. How to use. The other one is where we get our browsers, our mapping, the link to the self-service, and there's the link to tools where you can access our browsers there, either on the browsers page, the APIs is there as well, or through the right-hand side kiosk. I would point you to, just make in case you're confused, we do currently have two web-based browser links. We have one that we call the legacy web-based browser that has been active for a number of years now, but last December we released an updated version of that. That's why on the right-hand side you see two links, the new web-based browser. So if you're using MedDRA for the first time, you're new to the tool, I would suggest you look at the new web-based browser so you learn using the most up-to-date tools that we have available. So that was everything to share on that. So do we have any questions? Would you like to cover questions now before we go any further? Or do you want to do questions at the end, Ayşe?
Yeah. We thank the Mr. Patrick and Jane, and we can take the questions at the end of the presentations in the Q&A session.
Thank you.
Now Mr. Stewart from the Uppsala Monitoring Center will present his presentation named as Introduction to WHODrug. And if you are ready, you can share your presentation.
Oh, thank you very much for the introduction, and welcome from Sweden. I'll just start my presentation. So I hope everybody can see the presentation. I understand there was a few difficulties before, but it looks like we've got everything fixed, which is absolutely fantastic. Good afternoon. Like I said before, my name is Stuart Devine, and I'm the head of customer engagement at the Uppsala Monitoring Center here in Sweden. I'd like to begin by extending a thank you to PharmaSoft for inviting us to present here today. It's a great pleasure for me personally to be here and to present an introduction to WHODrug.
We thank you.
So just before I begin my presentation, I would just like to say that as an independent organisation, Uppsala Monitoring Centre, or UMC, which I'll refer to it from now on as, does not endorse or promote any specific software systems or PV service providers. We provide unbiased information and support to everybody everywhere. So with that said, I can begin my presentation, and I'd just like to provide a bit of an outline for you today as to what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to begin by giving an introduction to the UMC and who we are, because while you might have prior knowledge about MedDRA, UMC as an organisation might be very new to you, and we are quite different from each other, even though there are a lot of similarities. I'll then move on to talking about what WHODrug is. I'll then finish by going into our different licensing options, as well as the process for obtaining a license. And hopefully this provides many answers to the queries and questions that you may have, but if it doesn't, please feel free to ask any further questions during the question and answer session at the end. So UMC's vision, wait a minute, I've skipped forward a slide. There's always something technical that comes up. So let's just get straight into it. Sorry, I jumped a slide there by mistake. So who are we? The UMC is an independent, self-funded, non-profit foundation, which was established in 1978, dedicated to the safer use of medicines and vaccines. And through an agreement between the government of Sweden and the World Health Organization, WHO, UMC is actually designated as a WHO collaborating centre that operates the WHO Programme for International Drug Monitoring over the whole world, or PIDM for short. UMC supports over 180 member countries and regions in strengthening their safety surveillance, as well as maintaining Vigibase, the WHO global database of adverse event reports. In addition, UMC provides international standards and related digital solutions for secure exchange of pharmacovigilance data, including a global medicine and vaccine terminology for the identification of medicinal products. And this, you may now know, is called WHODrug Global, or WHODrug for short. With around 200 staff, the UMC advances the science of pharmacovigilance and transforms its practice through technological innovation. The UMC's vision is a safer use of medicines and vaccines for everyone everywhere. And this reflects the understanding that effective medicine and vaccines can never be free from risk. And at the UMC, we develop the science, the methods, the tools, and the networks to help understand these risks and inform about how these products should be used. With regards to its mission, the UMC aims to support the member countries of the WHO PIDM in developing, implementing, and strengthening safety programs. We provide solutions and standardization for secure exchange and global use of PV data. We aim to develop scientific methods and conduct studies to identify and assess adverse effects of medicines and vaccines. We support a global community with knowledge and expertise in pharmacovigilance through products, services, education, and communication. And we do all this by nurturing a collaborative culture that attracts and develops people who make a sustainable impact on the world. So now that you've had an introduction to UMC, I'll move on to talk about WHODrug. And although the UMC was established in 1978, the WHO Programme for International Drug Monitoring was actually created 10 years earlier in 1968 to address the need for systematic collection of information on serious adverse drug reactions from as many countries and sources as possible. This enabled individual countries to be alerted to patterns of harm emerging across the world, which might not be evident from their local data alone. However, in order to achieve this, a way of standardizing the medicinal product data was soon required, and UMC's drug dictionary, WHODrug, was developed. And today, WHODrug is an international drug dictionary which enables accurate identification and analysis of medicines and vaccines by providing a standardized terminology. This empowers authorities, agencies, pharmaceutical industry, and the wider healthcare sector to conduct effective pharmacovigilance by enabling the exchanges of information globally and optimization of processes through the different stages in the life cycle of medicines and vaccines. But why is a standardized dictionary so important? Because coding medicinal terms uniformly is a huge challenge out there and involves an increased risk of inconsistencies, especially when it's performed on several sites, various countries, and by investigators with different backgrounds. Coding medications in WHODrug is the transformation of the information in the ECRF or adverse event report from all over the world into structured and standardized drug codes in WHODrug, and therefore uniformly coding all data to the same terminology, allowing for greatly improved analysis, interpretation, and results. And it's good to know that WHODrug is currently being aligned with the ISO IDMP standards and the ICH E2B R3 guidelines. In order to meet the needs of its users and to keep it current and comprehensive, WHODrug is continually updated. It is also released in 2 specific versions every year for use during clinical trials. All the medicinal information is verified in at least one reliable national or international reference before inclusion in WHODrug. The information in WHODrug is structured in a hierarchical way. WHODrug includes different approaches to classify drugs. The drug names in WHODrug are standardized and harmonized. The dictionary is continually updated with new drugs and new classifications. And the information in WHODrug is available not only in English, but in Chinese. WHODrug is continuously growing all the time in content, and as of March 2025 contains more than 660,000 unique records, and there are more than 4.5 million different medicinal product trade names, complete with, for example, form and strength information included there as well. The benefits of this standardization has resulted in many authorities implementing the use of WHODrug, both for clinical trial submissions as well as pharmacovigilance. Over the past years, WHODrug has been made a requirement by several regulatory authorities globally. The FDA in the US, PMDA in Japan, KIDS in Korea, and as from 2023, Latin America started with Mexico, which was later followed by Argentina and Colombia. And more recently, Brazil also announced that they will mandate the use of WHODrug from the 1st of January 2026. And there are more Latin and Central American countries due to follow, all with the same goal of standardizing medicinal product information and improving safety surveillance within the country and region. And as you're all aware, at the moment anyway, Turkey will begin from the 1st of July this year. So just to summarize before we move on, UMC's drug dictionary, WHODrug, is a global and standardized terminology for medicines and vaccines. It is developed, maintained and distributed by UMC, and just for clarity, yes, the Uppsala Monitoring Centre is the sole provider of WHODrug and associated licenses. So now we'll move on to talk about our licensing. To be able to use and report with WHODrug, then your organization will need to have an active WHODrug license. Each organization that is required to report to the authorities needs to be licensed, as well as PV service providers who will use WHODrug on behalf of their clients and software vendors who will integrate WHODrug in their system. You may not use another organization's license. So whether your organization is using WHODrug themselves and doing their own reporting, or if they outsource to a PV provider who reports on their behalf, both need to have their own separate WHODrug license. UMC offers different licensing models depending on the needs, but also the size of your organization, and these come at different costs. Our WHODrug Global Standard license allows an organization to use WHODrug in their daily work and gives full access to the majority of our products and services. It is possible to hold one WHODrug license that covers several locations, as well as any subsidiaries or affiliates in a larger organization, and these can be added to your license at any time. However, the difference here from MedDRA is that these will need to be added formally to your license agreement and also paid for. One price does not cover all in this situation. For smaller organizations who only need to use WHODrug when reporting within the industry reporting tool, we have a light version of our license, which fits these needs and is actually today available at zero cost. Qualifying for this license is subject to a review, which is on an organizational group level and is essentially dependent on your needs of WHODrug and the size then of your organizational group. To qualify, we'll require that you share financial information with us. And if you're unable to share that information required, or if your organizational group exceeds our financial threshold, then you will have to subscribe to our standard WHODrug license, as I mentioned previously. And just to be clear, we don't look at how many products that you have on the market or the number of adverse event reports that you need to report. We look at your need for WHODrug, which will be different for every organization, and we look at the size of your organizational group as well when we look at the qualifying for the license, which is free at the moment. And for software developers and vendors, we also have a separate license if you complete our vendor program. We always review each individual organization's need for WHODrug before we start the process of being licensed, and we'll always book a call with you first for a one-to-one consultation. This also gives us the chance to properly understand your needs and to answer any of the questions you may have and explain anything that's uncertain to you. Please note that all of our licensing options are on an annual subscription basis. And if you do hold a license that has this financial criteria attached, then we will review those finances every year just to make sure that your organization still fits the criteria for that license. Otherwise, we will help you step up to our standard license. So, excuse me, I'm having problems with the slides. So there is another part to this that doesn't want to show up, which is quite annoying, but we'll just have to move on with it. To obtain a WHODrug license, you begin by completing the product inquiry form on our webpage. And then a designated customer engagement specialist will then reach out to you to personally book a one-to-one consultation, where we will discuss your needs for WHODrug and inform you of the different licensing options available to you. Your needs may vary, and therefore we always have a call to cover all of the questions and find the most suitable solution for you and your organization. Once you're ready to proceed, the process involves setting up a digital agreement between UMC and your organization, which will need to be signed. When the agreement has been signed by both parties, the invoice is issued, and when we have received full payment, your license number, which is visible both on your agreement and on the invoice, will be activated. Of course, if your organization qualifies for a zero-cost license, then this process will go a lot further, as there will be no invoice to pay. Depending on the flow of information, it normally takes 2 to 3 weeks to finalize this process for obtaining a license, but it can also go a lot quicker than that too. Ah, there it came up now. It's strange how it wanted to work that time. And this explains information on how to describe, which will be present on our website when you click on the product inquiry form. When your organization holds a valid WHODrug license, you may set up personal WHODrug accounts. Your appointed access manager or user account for WHODrug for industry reporting will receive a welcome email, along with instructions on how to set up your WHODrug users. When you've set up your profile, you can enter the WHODrug user area where you will have access to all the tools and services available within your specific license. And now I'll actually show you 2 of the most important ones which are available. The first one is our license validation tool. So as previously mentioned, whether you're an organization that is sharing WHODrug data with another organization, for example, a software vendor, or an organization that is using WHODrug on behalf of another organization, for example, offering PV services and reporting on your behalf, you're required by the license agreement to actually check that your collaboration partner or client has their own valid WHODrug license. And as a WHODrug license holder, you get access to our validation tool within the user area for this purpose. It's also good to know that UMC also performs license validation checks within the industry reporting tool that you'll be reporting in, and that license numbers can also be validated by regulatory authorities upon request. If you're interested in learning more about WHODrug, as a WHODrug license holder, you will have access through the user area to lots of information and also sign up details for our user group meetings, which are held every year and in different locations globally. There's normally one every year in Europe, for example. You will also get access to our online training courses. And here we actually have an online WHODrug course through our e-learning platform, which is very popular. And also webinars that we hold, whether live or recorded. You will also get access to these as well as as our library. My apologies, as well as our library of previous webinars. So just to wrap things up here a bit, on this last slide, I've provided both the link to our website and also a direct link to our product inquiry form for you to use when you're ready to apply for a WHODrug license. And the link to the Turkish regulatory updates is also included for your benefit. And with that, I would like to thank you very much for listening, and I hope you were able to both hear and see the presentation. Thank you very much.
We thank Mr. Stewart for his insightful presentation. And there are some issues, I guess, about the presentation, but not all of the attendees. We will make the announcement about those who had technical issues. And now we can move on to the Q&A session and get the questions. Let me share the screen again. And if you have questions, please feel free to submit them through the Q&A section. As our time is limited, if your question is not addressed during the session, you are welcome to reach out us or the speakers through the provided contact channels. And there was a question from our clients that who couldn't attend. I will ask it firstly. They are saying that we have two companies operating under the same ownership structure. It means the owners of the companies are the same with the same ownership ratios. It is stated in the trade registry, Gazette, etc. Hence, we think that we should pay just one company price and get the one ID for our two company access. They are asking, I guess, this question to UMC. If you can answer it.
Yes, exactly. And with all of these, it's best that you'd make a product inquiry first and then discuss with one of our customer engagement specialists who will help you guide you through here. But essentially, if there's two different registered organizations with two different tax ID numbers and two different organizational names, then they will both have to have either their own separate license, or they will both have to pay for a license under the mother company, so to speak. I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, then please, I urge you to reach out and make a product inquiry with us, and then we can discuss it in more detail together with one of my colleagues.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Stewart. I guess if you have a question, you can ask from the top section of the Q&A in Turkish soru and cevap kısmından sorularınızı sorabilirsiniz. You can ask your questions from the Q&A section. I will wait a few minutes.
I think all their questions were addressed by our speakers.
I guess.
If there is no questions, we can finish the 7th webinar, okay?
Yeah, we can. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope this webinar has provided valuable insights to support your pharmacovigilance activities. If you have any questions or would like to get in touch, please feel free to contact us from contact@pharmasoft.com.tr or business@pharmasoft.com.tr. Also, for the inconvenience that we had in the start, we will be making announcements for those who had an access problems and couldn't attend the webinar. And thank you for your understanding.
We will be sharing the recorded webinar. I want to thank you all so much too for joining us today. We truly appreciate your time, your attention, your engagement. And a very special thanks to our guest speakers, Jane and Patrick and Stuart. Your insights were incredibly valuable and we are grateful for your contribution.
Thank you, Ayşe.
Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Thank you a lot. So I am ending the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.